1, 2. Okay. Լսվում է։ Ո՞վ ասես չէ։ Չի լսվում։ Լսվում է, չէ։ Okay. Առաջին հարցի պատասխանը խնդրում եմ տվեք դուք, քանի որ առաջինը դուք եք լուծել։
Հարցում եմ, եթե ես մյուսին հարցնեմ, որտեղ է $1,000,000, ինչ ասի։
Այդքան բան։ Դուք որևէ մեկին մոտենում եք եւ հարցնում եք. Եթե ես մյուսին հարցնեի, որ դրան հետևն է $1,000,000, ինքը ինչ կասեր։ Հասկացա՞ք։
Սուտն է, չէ, դուրս գալի սուտն է։
Okay, հիմա մտածեք դրա մասին։ Եթե դուք ճիշտ ասողին հարցնեք, ինքը կասեր, այն ինչ որ մյուս ստասանը կասեր, այսինքն սխալ է, սուտ կասեր, ճիշտ է։ Ճիշտ է։ Իսկ եթե սուտասանին հարցնեիք մյուսը ինչ կասեր, մյուսը ճիշտ է ասում, է սխալ է ասում, դուք կսկանայիք նորից սխալ պատասխանը, ճիշտ է։ Այսինքն երկու վարիանտում եք, դուք ստանում եք սխալ պատասխանը։ Ու ընդհանրապես ընտրում եք մյուս տուրը։ Ջան։
Պետք է հարցնել, թե մյուսը մեկին հարցնելով հարցնում ես, թե ինչ կասի մյուսը, եթե հարցնես, թե որն է ճիշտ է։ Ու երկուսն էլ նույնին ցույց կտան, այսինքն ճիշտը կմտածի, որ մյուսը սուտ է ասելու, ու ցույց կտա հենց սուտ ասողի դռան վրա։ Սուտ ասողը սուտ կասի ու ցույց կտա իր դռան վրա։ Այսինքն,
այսինքն կարելի է այս բոլոր պատասխանները փակել հետևյալ բանով։ Որ անպայման հարցի մեջ պետք է ընդգրկվեն երկուսն էլ։ Երկու վարիանտով է։ Կարևոր չի դուք ում եք հարցնում, երկուսն էլ պետք է ինչ-որ մի input ունենան պատասխանի։ Որպեսզի ճիշտ ասողը իմանա, որ մյուսը սխալ կասի ու սխալ ասի, սխալ ասողը միշտ սխալ ասի։ Ու միշտ նույն պատասխանը ստանաք։ Okay։ Իհարկե, ինչքան ուզեք։ Այո։ Այո։
Եթե սուտ խոսաշողը ինչ ասի հա, եթե լին կամ շրդի մեկը ասելու է հաճրը ինքը, որը սուտ ասում։ Ավելի ճիշտ է։
Շատ լավն է։
Այդի ավելի լավ պատասխան։
Բայց կարող է իշտը ասի։
Շատ լավն է, շատ լավն է, բրավո։
Ես էլ էի մտածում, որ շարժեցի։ Այ որտեղ պետք է ստախոսի հետ պետք է խոսել, որտեղ ամեն անգամ ինքը պետք է խափի։
Okay։
Եթե ասես կա $1,000,000,
լավ կարճ ասած, հասկացանք։ Okay։ Իսկ ես մեկը։ Առաջինը ձեր էր, լսում եմ ձեզ։ Բայց երկուսն է դարարկում եք։
3 լիտրանոցով ջուր եք լցնում 5 լիտրանոցի մեջ։ 3 Հետո նորից 3 լիտրանոցով ջուր եք լցնում 5-ի մեջ ու 3-ի մեջ մեկը մնում է, միլիլիտր մնում է։ Հետո 5 լիտրանոցը նորից դատարկում եք եւ 3 նորից լցնում եք 5-ի մեջ։ Մեկ լիտրը լցնում ենք 5-ի մեջ։ Եվ հետո նորից 3 լիտրով ավելացնում ենք 3-ի։
Բրավո, գրանցր։ Այդ է։ Ուրեմն, որպեսզի մի հատ շուտ անցնենք, որ ակնհայտ լինի բոլորի համար, ուրեմն նայեք։ Նախ եւ առաջ դատարկում եք 5 լիտրանոցը, լցնում եք 3 լիտրանոցը մինչև վերջ։ Ու այդ 3 լիտրը թափում եք 5 լիտրանոցի մեջ։ Այսինքն, արդյունքում ինչ է ստացվում։ 5-ի 3 լիտրը լցվում է։ Այսինքն սենց։ Հա, ուրիշ լուծում եք կա համոզված անց։ Հետո,
քանի գործողություններ ես մեկը։
Ես մեկը դե հաշվեք։ Դե նայած դադարակելը հաշվում եք թե չի։ Ոբշեմ, ոնց ուզեք։ Հետո, էլի եք լցնում 3 լիտրանոցը, ու այդ 3 լիտրանոցից լցնում եք 5-ի մեջ, մինչև ինքը լցվի։ Քանի որ ինքը ուներ 3, ու մենք լցնում ենք 2, կմնա իր մեջ 1։ Ահա։ Հետո մենք 5-ը դադարքում ենք ու այդ մեկը լցնում ենք 5-ի մեջ։ Ընդամենը մնաց մենք էլի այդ 3-ը լցնենք ու լցնենք այդ 1-ի վրայով եւ ստանանք 4։ Բարձա։ Okay, լսում եմ։
Ուրեմն սկզբից լսում եք 5 լիտրանոցը, դատարկում եք 3։
Okay։
Ունեցաք 3 լիտր, 2 լիտր։
Այո։
Այդ 3-ը դատարկում եք։
Այո։
Եղած 2 լիտրերը լսում եք 3-ի մեջ։
Ահա։
Ունեցաք 2 լիտր, 0 լիտր։
Այո։
5-ը մինչև վերջ լսում եք ու դատարկում եք մնացածը 3-ի մեջ։ Դեռ մի լիտր է լսում, 5-ը մնա։
Այդ վերջը չի գորես։ 5-ը մինչև վերջ լսում եք։
Կա 5 ու 2։
Այո։
Այս 5-ից լցնում եք 2-ի 3 լիտրանոցի մեջ 1 լիտր է լցնում։ 5-ի մեջ 4 է։
Բրավո, շատ լավ։ Ինքնա։ Համեցեք, համեցեք։ Okay։ Լավ, okay, կարգազած, բրավո։ Հիմա, many of you are probably asking yourself why I went through this exercise. Why did I spend all this time talking about jugs of water? Why I talked about minions guarding $1 million behind doors? Well, let me ask you a question. How many of you get nervous before giving a talk? Hands up. Hands up if you're nervous before a presentation. I appreciate your honesty. The rest of you are liars. You are liars. Everyone is nervous before a talk. No, when you do a presentation. So I've been a software engineer for about 15 years now. My bio is off by about 5 years. And throughout the course of my life, I've given quite a few presentations, software presentations, demos, technological talks about frameworks and libraries and fun things like that. And the thing that never changes is I always get nervous before a talk. Every time. And what I've discovered is the best way to minimize, and I should note, by the way, that I get nervous usually at the beginning. I get nervous at the beginning, and then once I get into the talk, I start thinking about what I'm saying, and I kind of forget the fact that I'm nervous. And so one thing that I've discovered in giving these talks is that the best way to minimize that stress at the very beginning is to engage with the audience right away. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can just chat with them, you can do a puzzle, it doesn't matter what you do, but the moment you begin speaking with them informally, you already calm yourself down so that when you transition to the actual talk, you're not nearly as nervous. Now, I should note that I am not a professional speaker. I'm an engineer, that's all. But throughout the course of me being an engineer, I've given enough talks that I think I've learned, I've made a lot of mistakes, I guess is the right way to put it. And what I'd like to do today is to share with you some of what I've learned. Right? Now, here's one of the things that I should say. I love giving public talks. Even though I get nervous, even though there's a lot of work to be done, I love doing it. And I love doing it for two reasons. One is because I learn a lot every time I give a talk. If you think about it, what is involved in giving a presentation? It's taking the ideas that you have and trying to formulate them in such a way so that they can be delivered in a powerful way, in a way that is sensitive to the audience, sensitive to their backgrounds, so that your idea can be easily consumed. And in the process of organizing your ideas, you inevitably find missing pieces, which you then, as part of your preparatory work, fill in and better understand what you're talking about. So every time I've given a talk, I've understood the talk better at the end of it than I did at the beginning. Every time. The second reason why I love giving talks is because I get to meet people like you. Thank you so much, every one of you, for coming today. Right, so as I mentioned, so today I'll be talking about talking. I'll be speaking about speaking. Specifically, I'm talking about giving public presentations. So this is where you're giving a presentation to a group of people. Again, not an expert, but I've done this enough that I can say a word or two. Now, the first rule that I think I've learned along the way is that giving a presentation, or presentation in general, is a skill. It's not something that you're born with. It's something that you have to do, and you have to do a lot. And the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you will get at it. Here's a nuance with any skill. It's not enough, actually, to practice a skill. You can practice a skill incorrectly, and at the end of the day, what you will be is very good at doing something wrong. So, anytime you practice any skill, including public speaking, it's important to know the do's and don'ts, the best practices, and only then, once you understand what needs to be done, then and only then, do you begin to practice and perfect your skill. Next, respect your audience. This will be key throughout my talk. It's all about the audience. Respect your audience, respect their time. I was at a speaking engagement not too long ago where they told me, this is Armenia, don't start on time. People come in late, it's fine. I think this is very disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the people who come on time. Think about it. You are penalizing those who took time out of their day to come hear you speak. It's not acceptable. A 5-minute buffer is reasonable. Anything beyond that is disrespect. Speak about what you know. I think everyone understands this. But I will add, speak from experience. I don't think it's enough to simply research an idea. It's difficult to deliver an idea, a powerful idea, if all you've done was read about it. Experience it, then talk about it. Remember that the devil is in the details. And once you've experienced something, once you've actually gone through it, you can speak about it in a much more intelligent way. I would further embellish this to suggest that anytime you give a talk, talk about what you love. This is very important. Enthusiasm is difficult to fake. And here's the thing. Your audience will not be any more enthusiastic about what you're talking about than you. It's actually the maximum they will be, or less, never more. If you want your audience to be excited about what you're talking about, you yourself have to be excited about what you're talking about. And you can either fake it, though be careful going down that route. The moment you fake it, you're no longer being authentic. You are lying to your audience. Disrespect breaks the first rule. Be authentic. Be yourself and talk about things that you're truly passionate about. This is the only way you can connect with the audience and really deliver your idea. The other thing you should do is whenever you get one of these remote clickers, use it before the presentation. This is Steve Jobs. And for those of you who have seen his keynote addresses and have seen him present, know how good he is at doing what he does. What you may not know is that Steve Jobs was militant about preparing for his speeches. He would spend hours on every little detail of his presentation. His slides, the words he would use, the position that he would stand, where he would stand, the lighting, everything was a detail that had to be properly considered and practiced. And it shows. It shows in his presentations. It shows in a kind of polish that is delivered through his speeches. Remember, it's not enough to know about what you're going to say. That's not enough. Knowing the information and knowing how to deliver the information are two very different things. Make sure to give proper time to your preparation. Before you begin preparing your presentation, know your audience. Know who you're going to speak with. Understand the state that they will be in and be sensitive to that. Be sensitive to their backgrounds. Be sensitive to their knowledge. The way you would speak to a room full of children is obviously very different from the way you would speak to a room full of professors. Understand where people are coming from and be very sensitive to the way you deliver information. One of the things that really distinguishes a good professor or a good presenter or a good teacher from someone who is not is the professor who actually takes the time to imagine what you're thinking and try to introduce the information so that it fits in your current state of mind, rather than just telling you what he knows. Not enough. Be sensitive to your audience and make sure you customize your talk to them. Prepare a story. Stories are memorable. Stories begin conversations. Remember that people are not good at remembering facts. They're good at remembering stories. A good friend of mine was telling me about a technique that's used to memorize facts. If I were to give you a long list of facts, what's a good way to remember them? What's a good way to memorize and recall them later on?
Connecting the story.
Connect them into a story, exactly. Create a narrative that ties them together. Then replay the story in your mind and retrieve the facts back. So in your presentations, make sure, whenever possible, tell a story. The second thing, crucial thing, especially for those who teach, especially those who teach technical information, never begin with detail. In fact, it's not enough to even begin with a topic that then covers detail. First and foremost, always, always begin with context. Here's what I mean by this. Suppose I wanted to teach you guys about regular expressions. You don't know what regular expressions are. Some of you may not care. Some of you know it, which is great. I can begin by showing you the syntax of regular expressions. I can begin by showing you code. I can begin by showing strings and how regular expressions can be used to parse strings and so on. I can do that. But my guess is that I will lose most of you right away. And the reason for this is because human beings are very bad at connecting new content to their existing knowledge base, to their existing understanding of the world. And so you as a teacher, the first thing you have to do is wrap this idea that you're going to present with context. And what is context? Context is the information that will allow the core topic that you want to discuss to fit in with what the audience already knows. Bless you. It's the hook that will allow them to tie their knowledge to the new information you're about to deliver. Tell a story, provide context. Einstein has lots of amazing quotes. One of his famous ones, everything should be made as simple as possible, but no simpler. One of the biggest challenges of any presentation is putting together a discussion that delivers the message, does nothing more, you don't embellish it, you keep it as simple as possible so that it's easy to be digestible by the audience. But at the same time, remember, do not lose substance. Don't make it so simple that it's useless. Find the right balance. Be careful about the claims that you make. Let me tell you guys something. Did you guys know, statistically speaking, the bigger your foot size, the smarter you are? I'm not lying, by the way. This is actually true. How many of you are looking at your feet right now? Did you know, statistically speaking, that when a lot of people eat ice cream, more people drown? That is to say, the more ice cream is consumed, the more drownings occur. Did you guys eat ice cream today? Both of these are true. However, neither is caused by the two factors I mentioned. What I mean by this is having a small foot size doesn't cause you to be more or less smart. It just so happens that children, babies, who have small feet, are much less intelligent than you adults with bigger feet. Correlation. There is an intrinsic difference between correlation and causation. Just because two things happen at the same time, they happen together, does not imply that one causes the other. Be careful about making such claims. In my experience, the audience is very forgiving, believe it or not. They will forgive a lot. They will forgive bad slides. They will forgive nervousness. They will forgive. What they will not forgive is claims that are false. What they will not forgive is bullshit. John.
But you made a wrong claim. You are not more intelligent than babies.
Maybe we'll have this. Okay, fair enough. So you didn't forgive me for such a wrong claim. I don't know where you're going with this, but maybe we can have this topic over beer, maybe? Or lots of vodka is what I suggest, because I'm going to need a lot of vodka to imagine how a baby is smarter than that. Maybe, but a bunch of them also. Okay. 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 Practice. So once you have your presentation, so you know your audience, you've prepared the presentation has been customized precisely to your target audience. The next step is to practice. And here's what I found. It's a good idea to practice under stress. Now, there are a lot of ways to stimulate stress. Many of them are probably unhealthy, and I don't recommend you do it. I personally hold a push-up position and try to give my speech that way. It works. I'm serious. When your muscles are tense and your hands are... Try giving your speech then. It's good. It works. How many of you have done this? I've been to your talks. I know who you are. Don't put too many words on your slides. This is a cardinal rule. Here's the problem with putting too many words on your slides. When you have too many words on your slides, people are lazy. They will not read your slides. It's extra effort and it's useless. A worse scenario is if they do read your slides. Because if they do read your slides, they're paying attention to what they're reading and not to you. Furthermore, when they do read the slide, are you guys reading this? Is that what you're like? So, when they do read the slide and they're not paying attention to you, the focus is on the slide. And then when they're done reading it, they just want you to hurry up and finish and shut up and change so they can read the next slide. Remember that slides are meant to help you speak. They're not there to replace you. Remember that. By the way, you would think that I'm talking to students here? No. Professionals. All over Armenia and the world, by the way. It's not just our, but I've noticed it a lot here. They will put paragraphs and they put their notes on their slides. And then they turn around and read their notes. No. No. When you do put text on slides, make sure that it's readable. Okay? Make sure there's a strong contrast. Watch out for the size of the font you use as well as the color. These things matter. If you're going to put text on slides, people might as well be able to read and understand them. Otherwise, they're pointless. And if they're pointless, why did you do them? Fair enough. Alright. Equipment. Equipment. I was here today an hour and a half earlier than I should have been. to check the projector, to check everything, as much as I could. At the end, the lights were kind of an issue. But the point is, if the presentation doesn't go well, because there is a technical problem, you're at fault. Assume you're the presenter. The presenter is at fault. You can't blame AUA, you can't blame, it's your fault. It's your fault for not coming in earlier, checking the equipment, plugging things in. You are always responsible. Always. No matter what the situation, the speaker is responsible. So always take it upon yourself to check the equipment and make sure that things are in order. Oh, for those of you who use a mic, practice using a mic. How many times have you seen people talk like this? Yeah. And then you miss like 5 words that they just said, and you go, and there's no Control Z, like you can't go back and start over, right? You can't rewind. So whatever equipment you do use, practice using it, so that you don't embarrass yourself on stage the way I did with the iPhone. Bravo, ladies and gentlemen, I had an announcement. If you're excited about the topic that you're discussing, if you genuinely care about the things that you're talking about, it's only human to smile when you talk about it. It's human. If you don't smile, it means one of 2 things to me. There are 2 kinds of people. You guys know this? There are 2 kinds of people. Those who believe there are 2 kinds of people and those who don't. Right. So this means one of 2 things to me. Either you don't care about what you're talking about, in which case I don't want to listen to you. Why should I care about the thing that you yourself don't care about and you're spinning it at me? I don't want that. Or there's a second reason. You're hiding it. You're trying to look serious. Pourquoi? Because if you smile, you're no longer serious, right? Bullshit. Some of the smartest people I know are some of the happiest people I know. If you love what you do, show it. Don't hide it. Be authentic. Be yourself. Is it okay that I'm using bad words? Speak clearly, simply, slowly, and loudly. People have to be able to hear you. Is this something that happens to you guys? I didn't go to school here. But I have this sense that they pull you aside in class and they say, just so you know, whenever you talk, you need to speak very quietly. And you go, okay, and you speak quietly the rest of your life. When you are speaking to a group, speak up, project your voice. If people don't hear you, they don't receive your message. It's not enough to just speak. People have to be able to take it in. Speak loudly. Speak slowly. I have this problem, and I've been practicing and practicing and practicing. Speak slowly. When you speak slower than you think you should, you're always going to err on speaking quickly. Always try to speak slower. Simply, don't try to use complicated words. Usually people do this to sound smart. Don't. Sound smart by the content of what you say, not the fancy words you use. Okay? Content matters. Remember Einstein's quote, keep things simple, but not simple. Speak clearly. Try to avoid doing, these sorts of things. Try to avoid them. Remember, it's okay to not talk. It's okay to pause. See? This one.
About the TOEFL exam. The speaking section requires you to say if you don't know what to say and not to shut up. And they take out points if you don't say anything. What would you say in this point? What is the best way?
Okay, I think there's a clear difference between life and tests. Especially, mostly the students are like, yes. Tests, are not designed to test your intelligence. They're not designed to test your speaking ability. They're not designed to test, well, some tests maybe, but academic tests that I know are just designed to see if you learned the stuff that was spat at you by the professor or teacher throughout the course. Or in this case, it's just a bad test, in my opinion. I think that's a falsy test. That's a fallacy, I should say, not falsy. It's a fallacy of the test. It's a shortcoming of the TOEFL. So I would just blame the people. I mean, if you want to pass it, yeah, I mean, practice to say, but then forget it because it's a horrible thing to do. Any other questions while we're on the topic? All right. Wow! It's very difficult to capture the attention of an audience. It's something that you really have to work for. And in my experience, the way to really truly capture an audience is to talk about things that you yourself really care about. If you are excited about what you're talking about, you will be able to pull them in. But here's the trick. Once you have them, do not let go. Do not look away. Do not turn your back. Do not drop your height. People will often get on stage and read notes. Or worse, will read the slides. It's difficult to keep a group of people in attention, listening to you, if you're not looking at them. How many times have you had a conversation with a friend where they look at everywhere except you? It's difficult to keep going. You yourself find yourself looking around, taking out your iPhone. It's difficult. If you want people to pay attention to you, reciprocate. Pay attention to them. Remember that this is a conversation. It's not a lecture. And in a conversation, it is bad etiquette to look away. Do not turn your back. Wow. How many presentations have you seen where the presenter will turn around and go, as you can see, Bruce Lee, it says capture the attention. E equals MC squared. I lost you, right? Now imagine if I kept doing that for the entire time. It was always a frustration of mine when I was a student. When I would go to class and the teacher would turn around and start writing on the board. Because here's the thing. Out of respect for the teacher, yes, I'll allocate a few minutes. I understand, the teacher has, okay. But if the teacher is spending almost the entire time writing things on the board, I'm spending my day, a piece of my life, staring at his back. I would suggest that this is a horrible use of one's time. Which is precisely why, by the way, students in class will begin to do other more interesting things. They'll talk, they'll play video games, and then what happens? The teacher turns around and gets angry at the kids for actually trying to use their time properly. Kind of stupid. Do not turn your back. The other thing I've noticed, a nuance. Be careful about dropping your height. I was giving a presentation once. It was a technical presentation, and I had my laptop on the table. And what I would have to do periodically is sit down and code. And get up and then talk.